welcome everybody to this week's batch of World of Tanks subscriber replays. My name is Maxwell and the first replay today comes from the user Apeshit. That is Apeshit, and he's driving the Conqueror on a standard battle on Redshire, and the Conqueror being the tier 9 heavy tank for the British. You don't really see the higher tiered British tanks played all that often, the tier 8, 9s and 10s, and that's because they are pretty much underrated by people. Obviously not as popular as their Russian, German or American counterparts. In fact, I'm pretty sure you see them less often than even the French, but they are pretty good tanks. They are, I've said it before and I'll say it again, they are pretty good brawling tanks. They have a decent amount of hit points and armor, not fantastic armor, but enough when angled correctly to bounce some shots, a bit like the Americans. They're just backing off there and saying no to the law. This is my bush. Go find your own bush. And it looks like the law is indeed gonna go and find his own bush. So yeah, these are pretty good brawling tanks. The guns aren't the best side. They don't have fantastic alpha damage, but they've got decent penetration and a very good rate of fire. So what they lack in a couple of departments, they make it up for in rate of fire. They are able to lay down a good bit of sustained damage, and it can sometimes catch people off guard when you get to shoot at them 2 or 3 times when they're when the enemy's only expecting to get shot the once. So let's take a look at how this battle is developing. The Allies are sending a good sizable force down the left-hand flank and a smaller detachment on the right-hand flank with a couple of guys on the hill to try and cover them off. Unfortunately, the enemy looks like they are coming through this river, so not really able to get a shot on any of these guys, which is a little unfortunate, because what you... Excuse me. What you want to do from this hill, obviously, is just snipe at the enemy that your allies spot out. So there's somebody in a heavy tank moving, making a beeline towards that river area there. And he's doing a good job of spotting the enemies up on the hill. Oh, that's going to be... Oh, that was a nice shot on the top of that Tiger's turret. Didn't really expect that one to hit because of the amount he could see, but good hit nevertheless. I'm going to see if lightning strikes twice, and indeed it does. So that Tiger's going to have to back off now, or he's going to risk getting himself blown to bits. So it looks like the IS-3, who was pushing directly towards the river, has been destroyed now. Excuse me, I don't know what is wrong with my voice today. So the contingent that was sent down the left-hand flank looks like they are doing a pretty good job of pushing on, but the Allies have been pretty much overrun on this right-hand side. I think they pushed out too far too quickly, and the enemies just picked them off as they've come around towards that river. Unfortunately, there's nothing that the camping Allies can do from this ridge here, because the lay of the terrain is totally blocking any of the possible damage that they could lay down. That Tiger doing a good job of backing off there. But to be honest, where Apeshit is here is the best place for him. He doesn't want to put himself in harm's way. And if the enemy is going to want to push on eventually to the base, then they are going to have to come into the line of fire. But as you can see, they've lost quite a large force already pushing on this right-hand flank. They're losing at 2 to 6 at the moment, so getting beaten out a little bit. Not quite able to get a hit on that 5100. It's quite a fast manoeuvrable tank there, and he's going to get behind the Tiger and dispatch him fairly quickly. So he's just going to try and get shots on them as they move between the cover. Probably not going to be able to get a hit on this IS-3, but again, they're going to have to break cover. So that's probably why the Allies were overrun on this right-hand flank. As you can see, they sent a sizable force of 5 heavy tanks along this way. So he's just going to wait until they break cover, which is the smart thing to do. There's no point leaving your height, no point giving up your height advantage and leaving your entrenched position to go and try and chase the enemy. If they want to win, they're going to have to break cover. Not sure what that Tiger 2 was doing, just bumping into him a little bit. So it looks like the enemy's being pretty cagey about this one, not really wanting to break cover too... Oh, there we go, the 5100 pokes his head out And probably got his auto-loader reloaded. So he's going to break cover, try and draw the fire, and see if he can do anything. Unfortunately for him, he can't. And Apeshit picks up his second kill now in this match. So doing a good job. Not a fantastic amount of kills, but as you see, he's laid down a good bit of damage onto the enemy tanks. So he's probably going to score a good amount of damage done. Not quite got the gun depression, as you can see, to try and get his gun on target. So the terrain not really being his friend right now. And his allies are pushing through on the south there, so hopefully they can get through onto the enemy base. And these guys can try and hold off the enemy push from this direction. Now, that Tiger 2 doesn't really need to make that move that he's making at the moment, but what he's going to try and do, hopefully, is try and draw the IS-3 rather than just going in and face-tanking him, as that's probably not the best idea. Although there is a little T-50 there, and the little T-50 gets himself blown up. He should have probably been running away at that moment. So the battle not really going too well in the south now. They were winning that one convincingly there. That awful gun depression of the Conqueror coming into play there. So the Tiger 2's done his job well. And the idea was for him to get over there and try and draw the enemy tanks out from behind the rocks, which he's done admirably. And that's allowed the allies here up on the ridge to get some damage on them, which is good. Not really sure if the Tiger 2 is going to survive, but as you can see, he's kind of doing medium. He's kind of playing like a medium tank at the moment. He's not really just face tanking these guys and trying to eliminate them. He's giving them the run around the rocks, and then that allows the allies to get damage on them and take them out. But it looks like they've been overrun in the south now, and the enemy's pushing up through this central area. I'm going to try and take the ridge. So even the score up almost here at 12 to 11, although the enemy's got 4 heavy tanks, they only have 3. Although our man Apeshit is still the only one in a tier 9. And he has full hit points, hasn't taken a single hit so far in this game. So if need be, he can go and face tank some of the enemy. Now, what you want to do in a situation like this is you saw that the enemy were aggressively pushing on the central hill area, so you know that they're going to want to be attacking. They're not sitting back and defending their base or defending an entrenched position. They were aggressively pushing. So what you want to do is you want to sit back and take an entrenched position and then let the enemy come to you. If it got to this point and you hadn't seen the enemy or their positions, then possibly it might have been a good idea for all 3 of you to group up and push together. The thing you don't want to do is push singly, like this Tiger 2 on the right-hand flank there. You don't want him to just start pushing off towards the town there, because if that's where the enemy's entrenched positions are, he's going to get himself blown up. So it looks like the enemy's playing it a bit more cagey at the moment, so that T-29 is probably going to have to head out and try and get some eyes on them. The reason it's the T-29's job is because he has the lowest... he can probably affect the outcome of the battle the least, being the lowest tier. And having already lost a few hit points. The T-29 does his job well, spots out a couple of the enemy, that Tiger P there and that T-29. What he wants to do now is try and drop back and use the terrain to get into a hull down position. Only got 7 hit points left there, so probably not going to be able to get into a hull down position. No, he's taken out by a Tiger 2, which wasn't spotted, so not too sure where this Tiger 2 is. Actually, I think he's the one who's all the way over in the town. So if it was, then that was a fantastic shot by that Tiger 2. As you can see, there's a Black Prince trying to sneak around onto the cap zone. He's going to have to be careful right about now, because he doesn't want to expose his side armor to the attack of that Tiger P and the T-29. Looks like the Tiger 2 isn't really pushing through the town. He's kind of just holding his position. Knows that if he moves out too much, then some of these guys may be able to take him out. But it looks like the allied Tiger 2 has now moved off to try and go and deal with that situation, while this Black Prince... that Tiger 2 has now been eliminated. So someone's obviously got eyes on on apeshit here because he's been spotted out and he's taken a little bit of damage. So he's now going to have to try and face off against 4 tanks. Most people in this situation would probably just choke. But he's playing it nice and calm, which is good. He knows that his front armour seems sufficient as he's already bounced a couple of shots, so he's keeping his front armour angled towards the direction of those shots. And then just going to drop back and try and deal with this Black Prince. The Black Prince cannon isn't particularly good, so he can probably try and just offer up his side armour as long as it is nicely slanted, nicely angled towards him. He should be able to get away with that one. Personally, I probably would have dropped back behind that ridge and then presented my front armour to the Black Prince there, but not knowing how close the enemy were, he didn't want to be taken by surprise by the T-29 or indeed that Tiger P, which have considerably larger cannons than the Black Prince does. So he knows that Tiger 2, there he is going to be pushing after killing his counterpart, the other Tiger 2, so we're going to have to play this one carefully here, as he knows that there is a Tiger P and a T-29 up on the ridge. So he's just going to move down slightly, try and get a good position where he can poke just his turret over the edge. But again, the awful gun depression of this Conqueror isn't really going to allow that. But there we go. Looks like he's been able to get his gun on target now. Going to keep his front armour nice and sloped, and then try and get some damage through this Tiger 2. As you can see, the Tiger 2... Oh, there's a Tiger P. Only has 1500 hit points, which means he isn't fully upgraded, which means he doesn't have that increased turret armor, and he doesn't have the top cannon. This Tiger P just exposed himself a little bit too much. What he should have done is, after poking over the top and getting a little bit of free damage, he should have dropped back and used force of numbers to head down towards the cap zone and then loop around the bottom of the ridge here. And then get a shot on his rear armour, because his attention was taken up by that Tiger 2. He could have dropped down the side and along this little road here on the right hand side and probably gotten another free shot on the rear of the Conqueror, and then would have been able to drop back without getting himself taken out. So down into about a third hit points here, spots the T-29 and takes out the T-29. So slightly faster reactions than the T-29 there. Maybe the T-29 hadn't quite spotted him as quickly as he spotted. That sentence doesn't work. So it's just himself and this Tiger 2. Tiger 2's got considerably more hit points, but like we said earlier, with him only having 1500 hit points, we know that he doesn't have the top cannon. So, to be honest, he can probably just face tank him. He's got 200 hit points left, but he knows he's probably got a faster reload than this Tiger 2 has. So just going to aim, take him out, knows how good his tank can perform compared to the Tiger 2, and just using that knowledge to his advantage. So absolutely awesome replay there from Apeshit, picking himself up 7 kills, going 1 versus 4, and picking up the victory thanks to the enemy not being as well coordinated as they possibly could be, and using that situation to his advantage. So thanks very much for watching. Stick around because there's another one coming right up. And our next replay is from the user Werewolf20. That's Werewolf20, and he's driving the VK3002D on a standard battle on the port. And the 3002D is not a tank that you see very often. It is a tier 7 medium tank for the Germans. But like I said, it's not one that you see very often. A lot of people tend to go with the 3601 and then onto the Tiger, if that is indeed the way that the tech tree still looks these days. It's been a while since I've been down in the mid-tier Germans, so I'm not 100% sure. And enemy T-50-2 making a very brave rush early on across that bridge there. The Leopard also trying the same thing, just about getting away with it. So they know that the enemy has a couple of deep scouts now, so they're going to have to be careful on that far right-hand flank. As you can see, they're sending a few heavy tanks in that direction. Unfortunately, the Leopard hasn't been as smart about it and just kind of charged into the enemy's position there and gets himself taken out. T-50-2 is still alive though, but he doesn't really have any support, so the Allies should just be able to overrun his position. It's a good cheeky shot under the train cars there onto that Tiger. I think that Tiger, no, I was going to say I think that Tiger's thought better of his plan to push solo, but as he was reversing, but no, he's decided to turn around and start heading back in towards this area here. And Werewolf 20 just using the terrain to his advantage here, keeping the hill on his left-hand side to block off any shots from those tank destroyers or medium tanks that are on his left-hand side there. And it'll just allow him to fire on this Tiger tank for as long as he likes. Looks like the Tiger has now disappeared though. Manages to take out his tracks there, which is pretty good going, and that's going to pin him in place. But the Tiger is pretty well armoured on all sides, so it's going to be difficult, especially trying to sneak one under the train cars there. It's a pretty audacious shot, and not surprised that that one has missed, to be honest. So how is the battle stacking up so far? KB1S pushing over the bridge. He's got nowhere near the speed to be able to make it across there without getting blown up, but props to him for trying. As you can see, people not happy about him trying to pretend to be a light tank and rush straight across that central bridge there. He has actually survived with 62 hit points, so that's pretty good going for him. Artillery shells sounding like they are landing now, so he's got to be careful. Going to be dueling with that Tiger, just exchanging a little bit of fire, realising that he's been flanked there, so that is good situational awareness there to realise that that Panzer IV was coming along the train track area there and would have eventually come and flanked him. So one piece of advice I would give to any new World of Tanks player or any sort of reasonably experienced World of Tanks player is always keep an eye on your mini-map. 9 hit points left, just going to probably ram this guy to death. Yep, there we go. So yeah, the one piece of advice I would give any World of Tanks player is always keep an eye on that minimap. Not necessarily to the detriment of what you are doing in front of you, but every time you have a spare second, give a quick glance towards that minimap, just so you know if you are out of position or if you don't have the support of your allies that you thought you did, or to see if you are indeed being flanked so that you can react accordingly. So just taking out that S35CA there for his second kill now of this match. Not a massive high kill score game, but he's done plenty of damage so far. Got hits on multiple targets. Finds an M6 here. Driver's been killed, but decides to use that first aid kit to just bring him back to life. And then going to use the speed of the medium tank there to take out that M6. That's smart, not destroying the wall, letting the Tiger do that for him. Unfortunately, he did have a shot and shot just over the Tiger's head. And he's going to have to play pretty carefully now, as that Tiger's going to want to push. Although it would appear that he has the shot under the train car and the Tiger doesn't. Was just keeping an eye on that Stug 3 there as he was making a route down the left-hand side there, just wanting to know if he was pushing on towards the base or if he was going to be flanking. It looks like he's pushing on and not flanking around behind Werewolf 20, which is probably what he should have done, to be honest. That Stug was in perfect position to just do a pincer movement on Werewolf there, and him and the Tiger would have been able to take him out, as one of them would have been holding his attention while the other one would have been able to kill him. But no, it looks like he tunnel visioned on an enemy somewhere and decided to make a beeline for him and try and take him out. So he's not looking particularly healthy at the moment, only got 93 hit points, but he has got 4 kills to his name and a good amount of damage. Sees that he has an ARL in the, well, in and around the enemy. Oh, that's a nice reaction shot there onto the Panzer III-4. So, going to be going in to try and offer some support to this ARL-44, because if the two of them can wipe out the defenders, they can probably start a nice base capture. Not quite able to take out the Panzer III-4, but the ARL finishes the job. So winning this one, well, not quite convincingly, 12-10. And he's just going to position himself behind these train cars and see if he can get a base capture off. Enemy Hummel having a shot there, revealing his position. He's nowhere near well hidden enough. And it looks like Werewolf 20 and that ARL are just going to be able to double team him down. Wonder if Werewolf can get the final shot to pick himself up his 5th kill. Yes, yes he can. And the two of them are just going to squat here and try and sort out this base cap. So they know that they're under no danger of the enemy coming and resetting the cap and taking them out, as there's only one left, which is a Tiger, and he is in the enemy, the Allied base even. So this one is almost 100% going to be a victory. So absolutely great job there from Werewolf 20. Like I said, not a massive kill score game, but a good amount of damage. Picking up 5 kills for his name. The ARL just firing off a victory shot over his head, and that one is GG. So awesome replay there from Werewolf 20, showing good situational awareness and good tactical skill. Thank you very much for sending that replay in, and as always, there's another one coming right up. And this next replay is from the user Kampfzestora. That's Kampfzestora, and he's driving the Cromwell on a standard battle on the Abbey, and the Cromwell being the tier 6 medium tank for the British. Again, British tanks not very often seen. Well, not very often seen in higher tiers, but these lower, well, mid tiers, the 4s, 5s and 6s are seen a lot more often. And this Cromwell is a very, very solid tank. It doesn't excel in any one field. Well, it does really. It excels in top speed and agility. It's got a fantastic top speed there, as you can see, up to 65 kilometers an hour, and it's got good agility and acceleration for a medium tank. This thing can really be used as a scout, but with considerably more hit points, armor, and firepower, which is generally how I like to play it. It's generally how most people like to play it, because that's how it gets played. But again, like the British, it doesn't have a fantastic cannon. The damage and penetration aren't fantastic, but the rate of fire more than make up for that. The only problem is, like just now, because of the speed, you can get into a position and set yourself up and then realise that the enemy are nowhere near close enough to arriving at that point yet. So you've kind of just wasted a little bit of time there. Just seeing that the enemy is pushing up through the central town here, so he's just going to do the smart thing and drop back to offer some support, as they only have that KV-1 there against 2 heavy tanks and a tank destroyer. So again, showing fantastic situational. God, I have real trouble saying that word, situational. Just showing some really good situational awareness there, and just coming back to offer some support to this KV-1, who honestly doesn't look like he is long for this world. Just 1 or 2 more shots will be more than enough to finish him off. But yeah, as you see, he's been taken out now.
Enemy vehicle destroyed.
But again, he saw that they had enough tanks on this left-hand flank there to push all the way down. So just decided to drop back and do some base defense action. As you can see, it looks like the enemy actually hasn't committed any tanks whatsoever, except that single scout tank over on that left-hand flank. Oh, nice shot on that M4 there, taking him out. Good work. And a KV-1S perched up on that ridge, trying to get some cheeky shots on the side of the defenders. So the enemy not really committing any forces at all, apart from that one light tank on this left-hand flank here, which means that they can, the Allies can just push onto the enemy base totally unimpeded. And as you can see, they're already taking out the artillery and pinning down that tank destroyer. But it does mean that they've been pushed pretty heavily on this right-hand flank. Luckily, Kampf was back in time to stop the push directly through the centre of the town, which is another good point about the Cromwell. Because of its acceleration and its top speed, you can really use it to reposition on the battlefield very, very quickly. So if you notice that a particular flank isn't doing so well, you can relocate over to that side. As you can see, the enemy has absolutely no idea that he's here, as he's able to get into the sides and the rear of this this M4A without him really noticing. Thing about this M4 is it has awesome armor, so you've got to be pretty careful. As you see, ricochets there. But he does have the speed and agility to just be able to carousel around him like he's a light tank. Just going to make sure he can get on this side armor. Not quite having a good time of it, so decided to use the zoom there just to make sure that he lands his hit and is able to take him out for his third kill now. So that's the base defense all taken care of. A good job there. So he's going to now use again that speed and agility to just relocate himself to a different part of the battlefield. Although it looks like, although he had stopped the previous push through the centre of the town, what it looks like happened here is the enemy must have seen that the push was doing well and then decided to commit even more forces to this central village. Did get a hit on that Matilda when he was in the fog of war there. So going to force him to sit behind the houses. So yeah, when a particular flank gets pushed well and they move on and make up some good ground, you find that teams tend to then go ahead and commit even more forces to that flank, and if the allies don't do anything about it, if the other team doesn't do anything about that, then they can just get overwhelmed pretty damn quickly. Although if the other team does react to it in time, and it just ends up being just one giant meat grinder there. Just going to see if he could try and get a shot on this KV-1S there. It looks like he's pretty well hidden. KV-1S was able to get a big hit onto him there and take out a decent chunk of his hit points. It looks like that Stug 3's come round to offer some support now, so the two of them should really be able to double team him to death here. In fact, do, as the KV-1S takes out his counterpart. That Hellcat looks like it's focused on the Churchill gun carrier there, so shouldn't be too difficult to just get in and take him out as well. So winning this game pretty convincingly at the moment at 13 kills to 10. Allies only having one heavy tank and that artillery, although the Grill has now taken out the 1S. Just going to head through this beautiful purple field of flowers, probably heather or some other flower, not really sure. And then going to head in towards the enemy base. Probably prefer to get the kills. They've got a KV-1 and a Grill left, so nothing too spectacular. Like I said, probably prefer to pick up the kills, but a base capture would do, because let's face it, a victory is a victory. And I think last time they were seen, the KV-1 at least was in that town in the centre. So we're just going to speed this one up a little bit until we get back into the action, because this one could take some time. Especially that Grill that looks like Kampf is looking for at the moment. Did spot that KV-1 there, so just going to head in towards the town. That KV-1 is a pretty good tank, but the Cromwell should be more than a match just to take it on head on. Thought we were still in fast forwarded mode there, because that KV-1's coming down the hill at such a rate of speed, and he's made a schoolboy error there of trying to ram him but not doing a good enough job and missing, which sent him all the way past. And the turret traverse of a KV-1 is absolutely abysmal, and there was going to be no chance he was going to get his turret on target, especially once his tracks had been eliminated. So good job there by Kampf to be able to just carousel around him there using the turret traverse, terrible turret traverse speed of the KV-1 against him. I dare you to say that one 3 times in a row. Terrible turret traverse. So finds the Grill, but it looks like the base capture is going to be complete, and this one is a victory for the Allies. And he's not quite able to get himself a Top Gun medal. So a little bit of a shame there for an otherwise awesome game. Would have been nice to top it off with a Top Gun medal. But like I said, a victory is a victory at the end of the day. So brilliant replay there from Kampf Zerstörer. showing the speed, agility and manoeuvrability of the Cromwell and its ability to relocate to different areas of the battlefield to shore up the defences or push an attack. So thanks for watching. There's another one coming right up.
On the road.
And our final video is from the user GamerBomb. That's GamerBomb, and he's driving the IS-3 on an assault battle on Corellia. And assault battles on Corellia are notoriously action-packed, so this one should be nice and exciting. Obviously, the guys who spawn at 1 are going to be heading to the south. The guys who spawn at 3 are going to be heading to the north. Not really much you can do about that, so you just got to get on with it and deal with it. Just got to keep an eye out because the defending team here does like most of the time to send an advanced scout to the southern area. Don't do it so much on the northern area, I've noticed, but they do like to send a quick scout to around about J1 and 2, so you've got to keep your eyes peeled for that one. There we go, there's the scout in J1 and AMX 1375. It looks like he's getting a little bit greedy for the kills and not being aware of what's going on around him, as he's about to be shot in the face by an IS-3 and a KV-1S. Pretty lucky to survive that one, to be honest. But GamerBomb doing the smart thing of having his shots there and then dropping back. He doesn't want to get picked off by that artillery. Looks like it's a Hummel, and it is indeed a Hummel. So the Hummel able to do a decent amount of damage, so you don't really want to get shot by those things. So just playing it a little bit cagey and a little bit careful. We'll see if he can pick up the 1375, but it looks like he has vanished into the wind. And sometimes you do find other medium tanks and heavy tanks lurking around this area here. Just got to play it careful. He's offering up his side armor, doing a good bit of side scraping there, trying to taunt the enemy into shooting at his side armor, and then having the shot bounce and him not take any damage whatsoever. So as you can see, the enemy's obviously got some eyes on this location as they're all getting hit. Luckily it's all been bouncers so far, apart from that one doing a little bit of damage. So that KV-1S still stubbornly refusing to move. Is his track's taken out? Yes, it looks like his track has been removed, and then he gets removed from the map. So it looks like the Allies have decided to make an overwhelming push in the north here. They've got a sizable force there, and they're just trying to overwhelm the enemy with numbers, although they are slowly but surely getting ground down. GamerBomb waiting until everybody has their shots, and then he's going to advance forward behind these rocks here. That's kind of what you need to do, is wait until you're pretty sure that all the enemy have had their shots, and then you want to advance to a further up the field position, because they didn't have eyes on any of the enemy, because apparently they don't have any light tanks left, so the job fell to him. He's going to try and take out the squishiest targets first, and then just keep himself nicely hidden. The enemy making a bit of a rookie mistake there. They've got themselves out in the open for some reason when there is plenty of rocks for them to hide behind scattered around the area. But they're just deciding that they want to sit out in the open and get their faces blown off, which is indeed what is happening at the moment. Because I'm pretty sure that even on the far left-hand side of the battlefield here, there are some dips in the terrain where you can get a tank nicely hull down without having to hog the space behind the rocks here. So they've managed to push the enemy back behind the rocks, which is a great plan. What you want to do is just keep them pinned there. As you can see, they've already won the battle in the north, so they just need to hold the attention of the defenders here for long enough and allow their allies to come up and help them claim victory. Let's see if we can just get a shot on this M6, not quite hitting that one. Looked like it was aiming at the rock rather than the tank. and the IS-3 has a pretty long reload time. I think the IS-3 was the first Tier 8 tank. Oh no, the Tiger 2 was the first Tier 8 that I bought. The IS-3 close behind though, and I love this tank. Back when the KV-4 was Tier 9, pushed through the IS-3. Oh, nice kill there. Pushed through the IS-3 to the IS-4. I was a little bit disappointed with the IS-4 compared to the IS-3. It didn't seem as good. So, realising that they've been flanked now as this Tiger's getting shot in the ass by that AMX AC-48, but he's able to spin around and take him out, although it looks like a Dickermax was then eliminated him. So not too sure where this Dickermax is exactly, so he's going to have to be pretty careful, although he's not really taking much damage from the front. Like I said, this thing is a bit of a beast. It looks like he's been flanked from behind now by this VK-4502. Not really in the position to take him on head-on, so he's just going to run away and try and use the rocks to cover his escape. Able to get a shot into the side of him there just to dissuade him from following, just to say, hey buddy, there's plenty more of that to come from if you decide you do want to follow. And then gets down into this little dip in the terrain now and just tries to hide away from that VK, who now looks like he's fighting with the 3601. So we'll let him try and deal with the situation while Gamer Bomb pushes in towards the enemy base. It looks like they weren't quite able to hold all of the defenders' attention, as they were able to spin around and then take out the attackers from the north there. So they're actually losing this game at 9-12 at the moment. Finds his counterpart, but not quite able to get any damage on him, as you see there. Looked like he did actually take his track out. So now losing this one at 9-13. There's just himself and the artillery left there. So he's got to play it pretty carefully now. Knows that VK is going to be making a push around here. Is able to get a good hit on him, and then this front armor, fingers crossed. Nope, not quite sloped enough. As you see, with the sloping on the front of this IS-3, what you want to do is just keep it flush on. Keep the front face just pointing fully at the enemy and let the slopes in the design do the work for you. So just heading back down into this dip here to try and lure him into taking his shot. Very, very lucky ammo rack there, coming exactly when he needed it. So the VK shot not really doing any damage there, and he manages to get a lucky ammo rack and take him out, evening up the score a little bit. But he's got 2 tank destroyers and 2 tanks to fight against now, with just himself and that Hummel. The Dickermax is probably going to be able to shoot at the turret of an IS-3 all day and never do any damage. So this one should be a pretty easy kill now. To be honest, after watching videos like this, I'm always tempted to go back and rebuy my IS-3, because like I said, I was disappointed with the IS-4, but the IS-3 was a very sturdy machine, and it never really did anything wrong, in my opinion. So he's facing off now against a KV-1S and a... what was that? It's IS-3 and this Hellcat, which we haven't seen yet. The IS... oh, there's the Hellcat there, and the Hellcat gets taken out by the Hummel. So, coming in to try and take out their artillery and gets himself blasted for his troubles. Gamer Bomb's got almost twice the hit points of this IS-3, so it's really just a case of waiting in this little dip here for the enemy IS-3 to make a mistake or show himself. Let's see if he's got enough damage to take him out in one shot. But he does have to be careful of that KV-1S. That was an excellent shot there. Just getting in and just getting the shot on the IS-3 in time, just as the IS-3 fired, but the enemy just about hit the ridge there. So he's just against this KV-1S now, and to be honest, he doesn't even need to go and take him out. He can just let the Hummel do that for him. As long as he can just keep eyes on him, then this game is pretty much all won. So deciding that he's got the armor to just charge this IS-3, and even if he didn't have the armor, he had the hit points. You know that that KV-1S only does 300 and some hit points, and he had over 600. So that's going to be the show for today. Gamer Bomb picking himself up 6 kills and a Top Gun medal there for his trouble, doing a good job of just pushing, keep getting his head down and pushing down this left-hand flank and just not giving up and plugging away until everybody else is dead. So brilliant replay from him. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please leave me a like. Every like that you leave does help me out greatly. Stick a comment in the comment section below letting me know exactly what you thought of each replay, and I will catch you next time.